"My experience is what I agree to attend to," wrote William James in 1890, delivering what might be the most profound insight into human consciousness ever penned. Think about that for a moment. James wasn't suggesting that reality shapes our experience, but rather that our attention itself creates the very fabric of what we call reality. In a world where the average person checks their phone 96 times a day and where our attention is constantly fragmented across countless stimuli, James's understanding of attention feels not just relevant, but urgently necessary. James viewed attention as the master key to human experience, the psychological mechanism that literally constructs our world moment by moment. Unlike his contemporaries who saw attention as merely a spotlight illuminating pre-existing mental contents, James understood something far more radical. For him, attention was creative, selective, and fundamentally transformative. When we attend to something, we don't simply observe it. We bring it into existence as part of our conscious experience while simultaneously allowing countless other potential experiences to fade into the background of awareness. This selectivity of attention fascinated James because he recognized its profound implications for human agency and personal development. He observed that at any given moment, our consciousness is flooded with potential objects of attention: sounds, sensations, thoughts, memories, emotions. Yet we can only attend to a tiny fraction of this vast array. The choices we make about where to direct our attention literally shape who we become. James saw this as both our greatest opportunity and our most significant responsibility. What made James's approach particularly sophisticated was his recognition that attention operates on multiple levels simultaneously. There's the immediate, moment-to-moment direction of our focus, what he called sensorial attention, where we choose to notice the feeling of our breath rather than the sound of traffic outside. But there's also what we might call life attention, the broader patterns of focus that define our character and destiny. James understood that someone who habitually attends to grievances develops into a resentful person, while someone who cultivates attention toward beauty and possibility becomes an appreciative and optimistic individual. This insight led James to what might be his most practical contribution to psychology, the understanding that we can train our attention like a muscle. He observed that most people live with what he called scattered attention, allowing their focus to be pulled randomly by whatever stimulus happens to be strongest at any moment. But James argued that we could develop what he termed voluntary attention, the ability to sustain focus on chosen objects even when they aren't the most immediately compelling things in our environment. The process James described for developing this capacity sounds remarkably similar to what we now call mindfulness meditation, though he arrived at these insights through philosophical inquiry rather than Eastern contemplative traditions. He suggested that we begin by practicing sustained attention on simple objects: the flame of a candle, the sensation of breathing, the details of a single flower. The key, according to James, wasn't to eliminate distractions but to notice when attention had wandered and gently return it to the chosen focus. This simple act of noticing and returning, repeated thousands of times, gradually strengthens our capacity for voluntary attention. In our contemporary context, James's insights feel almost prophetic. We live in what researcher Matthew Crawford calls an attentional commons under siege, where billion-dollar industries are specifically designed to capture and monetize our attention. Social media platforms, news organizations, and entertainment companies employ teams of neuroscientists and behavioral economists to make their content as attention-grabbing as possible. In this environment, James's understanding of attention as the foundation of human experience takes on urgent practical importance. Consider how James's framework might transform your relationship with technology. Instead of passively allowing algorithms to determine what captures your focus, you could approach each moment of attention as a conscious choice. When you pick up your phone, you might pause and ask, "What am I choosing to attend to right now, and how will this shape my experience?" This isn't about rigid self-control but rather about awakening to the profound creative power of attention that James identified. The applications extend far beyond digital wellness. In relationships, James's insights suggest that the quality of our connections depends largely on what we choose to attend to in other people. Do we focus on their flaws and frustrations, or do we cultivate attention toward their strengths and positive qualities? In creative work, do we attend to our fears and limitations, or do we direct focus toward possibilities and inspiration? James understood that these choices of attention literally construct different realities. Perhaps most importantly, James recognized that developing skilled attention is not just about personal effectiveness but about ethical responsibility. In his view, how we attend shapes not only our own experience but ripples outward to influence everyone around us. A person with trained attention brings presence, clarity, and genuine interest to their interactions, while someone with scattered attention contributes to the general fragmentation and superficiality of modern life. William James gave us a psychology of attention that is simultaneously practical and profound, offering both immediate techniques for better focus and a deeper understanding of how consciousness itself operates. His insights remind us that in every moment, we have the opportunity to choose what becomes real in our experience. Subscribe to The Psychology of William James to explore more of his timeless ideas.